Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a very special day, at least it is for me, because this particular episode that I'm recording here for you right now is actually what marks my 10th episode. So, the Automated Millionaire episode number 10. And so, this is going out on the video podcast series, and it's also the audio is going to be extracted and going out on the podcast and be transmitted out through the various podcast platforms. I am super stoked that you are here. I'm very thankful for those who are following me. I'm very thankful for those who are connecting with me, liking my podcast or videos, and subscribing on the platforms wherever they may be. As you can imagine, just like in entrepreneurship, every time we set out to do something new, there's a little bit of a learning curve and there's a little bit of finding the rhythm of things and so on. I am stoked because I actually pulled myself together to get some of this going. I have long wanted to get out to a broader audience so I can take all those valuable lessons that I've learned in business and help a lot more people than I could if I ever was to see them in person and, by visiting on site and being with them in the trenches. I have enjoyed thoroughly when I've worked with clients in person. Excuse me so much. I've enjoyed it very much, but the problem is that it comes with a lot of limitations. And I mentioned this in a couple of other episodes before, that when I'm in person on site with a company, I can really only help that one company. Now, it may affect a lot of people that I'm helping that company, but ultimately speaking, I feel like the lessons I have picked up over in my entire adult lifehood in entrepreneurship, and from having served so many clients and being one of the top business turnaround agents here in the United States, then I feel like all the lessons I've learned, which have proven to have such successful outcomes with a lot of clients, that I really want to take that and help even more people. We've spoken in previous episodes about, the stresses and that can be when we are an entrepreneur running a company and the company may not be doing so well. We have talked about how those stresses, they very typically affect everything else in our lives. So for the first one is like yourself, you get physical stress, you get, maybe you sleep poorly, maybe you begin to pick up bad habits, whether it's maybe drinking a little bit too much or any other substances or anything to kind of calm your nerves or take your mind off of your stresses. It very also spills over into your personal life or when it comes to your relationship. So, maybe your relationship with your spouse gets, under some duress or some stress, and maybe even sometimes your relationship, if you have children, that relationship gets to be a little shall we say, challenged. You might be a little bit shorter in your presence and shorter in your answers to the kids. You might be a little bit harsh on them and so on. And so in other words, it spills over. When we have those stresses, it can really ruin a lot in our lives. So, when I've helped these companies, a lot of those clients, they had companies that were really, really struggling. So they were like about to run out of hope for the survival of their business. They were already up to their debts were already very sky high, and they had a lot of debtors and vendors knocking on the doors and so on. And even if they were to throw in the towel and so on, unless they totally declare bankruptcy, then the likelihood is that they would have to resolve those issues over many years to come. So when I've been able to come into a business and help them put the business onto a different track and instantly begin to find some money and so on, that relief that I've noticed in them and so on has been so amazing that I really have come to want to do this for so many more people. So that is why I put it online here on the YouTubes and Vimeo platforms and so on. And it's also, of course, why I put it out as podcast, to reach more people, to reach more people that I can help. Like I said, when we start out something new, we have some teething problems and so on. And certainly that was also the case for me For one, I'm not necessarily accustomed to being much in front of the camera or much in front of the microphone. So, that takes a little bit of overcoming to do. And quite frankly, I shall be totally honest, um, I have actually wanted to do this for a long time, much longer than it took me to actually pull the trigger when I finally did so. I had a lot of, shall we say, false starts where I kind of attempted and then I just couldn't bear myself, watching the videos or listening to the sound or anything like that. So, so I'm happy that I've overcome that to some degree. It's still a learning process, and I'm sure as we progress, this might become more fluid and more seamless. I've also, you might have noticed in some of the audios that I've had some technical issues because, I've had to figure out how to not just set the camera up, but actually get the focus right when I'm shooting it myself and so on. Later on, yes, I might have a photographer to help me out doing these things, but right now it's still, kind of like, well, I'm gonna go and tough it out, on my own, go budgeting out on my own until, I have more traction with this new endeavor. My audio, you probably heard some crackling or some clipping as it's called when the audio actually pitches up too loudly and so on. And so I've had to learn that also. I actually, before this particular recording, I was studying audio again, made some new adjustments to the camera, and made some new adjustments to the transmitter and receiver of the audio, and hopefully that will show up in this audio / video to a much nicer experience for you. Anyways, that is my hope. But at any rate, I want to keep this just as a video or a broadcast for this round here, just saying how thankful I am for you and your attendance and you showing up for these podcasts or the video podcast or audio podcast. I'm really, really thankful. I will be putting out more and more programs as we go along, and especially there'll be the signature program that basically has all of it, and all of these things are meant to help business owners make more money. And my experience has been that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, and it doesn't really matter what you do as a business and what your trade is and so on, but it's a system that I've found can be used pretty much in any industry. The ones who will benefit the most will typically be businesses that have some employees, maybe like 5 at least or 10. But I would say you could actually use the system also for a business that's just you in the business, because it actually teaches you how to look at business in a better way and then produce better results, even if you're a single business owner and single operator in your business. But for sure, the bigger benefit is when you actually operate several people, because now there's also some part of people management, but doing it in such a fashion that it actually comes natural and it actually leads down the path to eventually you can maybe step out of the business daily operations and have your people run it for you, and then just under your guidance as to where are you going, what's the vision, maybe some key like restrictions about what can and cannot be done in the business and so on. And then, you can go on to pursue other areas of interest or have more time off or go traveling or maybe build a second business next to it. I would say in terms of business size that this is really good for, well, typically it's, for the businesses maybe of about 500,000 and up to maybe 30 million. Now, granted, that's a huge difference between a, sub $1 million business to maybe $1 million to $3 million business. And then again, there's a huge difference when you get up to a $10 million business. And then again to $20, $30 million business. There are some big differences. But when it comes to the systems of operating either of these, you will find benefits for sure in this system. Like I said, it's a method that really just kind of like makes sure it just repeats over and keeps finding more money, more optimization of your business. And that's one of the big reasons that I really love this, because it's so universal. You may also have heard me speak about previously in other episodes about the business of business is very universal. It's, the numbers are, your plus, minus, addition, subtraction, some percentage calculations and so on. but it's really very universal. The way we need to look at the business numbers in terms of we have the sales, we have the cost of goods sold, so the variable expenses that goes into delivering upon whatever it is we need to deliver upon to make the sales happen or to deliver on the sales. And then we have, excuse me, we have our fixed cost of our overheads and so on. And then eventually we might have some finance and taxes and so on. And then we have a net result. But the way we need to look at those numbers and so on is pretty much the same thing. Yet again, I find that most business owners actually have very little true understanding of how to look at it. And therefore, they are also very often invariably shooting themselves in the foot and leaving a lot of money on the table and not making the benefits that they should be making. With that said, and for currently, I might actually direct you to one of the programs, the first one that's actually has been launched now, and it is a program that I call Pricing for Profits. It's all about how you really truly price your merchants, your merchandise, your products, your services, whatever it is you're selling, how you price it so that you can truly have a good, decent, and sound profit at the end of the day. Most business owners that I meet, they have a lot of wrong ways of how they're pricing their products or services. And they also have a lot of challenges about how they go about maybe offering discounts. So in truth, one of the reasons I chose this program, the Pricing for Profit program, to be the first one is that I wanted to give some of my clients, I wanted them to give them some information that would instantly and very rapidly give them more cash into their pockets. So that it would very, very rapidly, almost immediately, begin to give them more money, make them more money in the business. And the second reason is kind of like, a self-serving reason for me and my business. And that is, in fact, I want you with a program like this to be able to make a lot more money. And I'm going to offer it at much lower rate than a lot of the other programs, my signature programs, so that you can go in your business, make those changes, make a lot more money, and then take some of that money and invest back into me where you get the bigger signature program. And so it's kind of like helping you to bribing you to a way of making you much more money very, very rapidly so that you can come back and invest without feeling too much of the pain of the investment. Now, that being said, pain in investment may not be a bad idea because at the end of the day, when we are paying for good expertise, when we're paying for good service, we also tend to value it higher. And that means that we tend to actually show up. We tend to take whatever lessons we're deriving from it, whatever we get from the coaching, whatever we get from a phone call or the help on hand, and we actually go and implement some of the suggested guidance that we need to implement in our business. And that makes it so that then now we actually begin to have some real action in the business derived from some tried and tested and proven methods that may be different from what we are normally doing in our business. And now we begin to get some real results. At the end of the day, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for real results for all my clients. I'm looking for real transformation for all my clients. I'm looking for a transformation in their business and that change in the business, because the business is now doing so much better, will lead to a lot of positive transformations for you and yourself, personally, and it will lead to a lot of transformation for your people that you employ. And more than likely, like I've said before, with all these ripple effects that we can create with a business, positive and negative, and in this way we're looking at the positives, then we might affect a lot of people. So that is my goal for this. So you may want to go and check out this Pricing for Profit program that I'm offering right now and probably ongoing too. For more information on this or anything else, by all means, visit my website, theautomatedmillionaire.com, and you can find more about programs and so on. If you want to reach out to me and connect with me, you can do so also via the contact page on, again, theautomatedmillionaire.com website. You may also find me on Twitter and Facebook and so on. You just have to do some searching until you find it. Or again, go to my website, theautomatedmillionaire.com, and you'll find some links to the various profiles that I have on the social media. Again, thank you so much. I'm wrapping this up. This was episode number 10, and I'm going to do a little bit of celebration on that. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. I really, truly appreciate you, and appreciate you for being part of this. Thank you.